Hello, everyone. Well, I'm so glad to see you. We've already been chit-chatting a little bit. I'm going to introduce Joel and then I am going to mute myself as well. Joel Gresham is the founder of the Wedding Guide brand and owner of multiple wedding businesses across Michigan, including a premier historic barn venue and one of the state's largest bridal expos. Recently featured on the cover of Everything Men's magazine, Joel is known for his direct, numbers driven approach to bridal expo marketing, helping vendors turn foot traffic into follow ups into dollars. And we all want to learn what Joel has to offer us today. Welcome, Joel, and thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thank you and welcome everybody. Hey, I want to start out and just tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was walking through one of my bridal shows, and before the doors opened, they were on each side of the door as you come in. There was happened to be similar vendor, and they both were florists, and you know throughout they had similar booth size, similar pricing. But by the end of that show, the one on the left literally had booked 11 when I talked to her. 11 on the spot. She got consultation. She was going to meet with them. And the person on the right didn't have any consultation. She hadn't booked anything. And they had the same traffic. They had the same brides. Walking past their booth. The difference really was not the price. The difference is how they handled the conversations. Today, I'm going to show you guys how short bridal show conversations can turn into real contracts and real revenues. Let me start up I'm going to share my um, PowerPoint with you here. It'll let me. Oh, all right. If you guys can see that or not, let me get it up and running. There we go. Can everybody see that?
It's up. Yes.
Great. So I clearly lost my train of thought there. I can tell you within 30 seconds of walking to a bridal show which um, which vendor is going to do well, which ones are going to get a good ROI and which ones are not. And really can tell that within 30 seconds. And how do I tell that? I'm going to explain that here in just a little bit. So let me tell you a little about me. My name is Joel. I started a DJ company when I was 16 years old back in 1989 and built that company up into one of the area's largest entertainment companies. Before COVID, we were doing 500 plus weddings a year with that company. DJs, photo booths, ordained ministers, bartending. Part of being part of the ABC brand, I was able to add on honeymoons. So I also obviously sell sandals exclusive honeymoons. And about 8 years ago, I purchased a property that had a barn on it, and we invested everything I had pretty much to make this happen. And we have a very successful wedding venue now that we're booked out every weekend over the last several years. And then about the time I purchased the property, I was offered a local bridal expo, and I kind of took it over, completely rebranded it, and now we have three across Michigan, and we are the one of our largest cities here outside of Detroit is Ann Arbor. We have the only bridal show in Ann Arbor, so I'm really proud of that. And that's kind of where we come into, that I'm going to explain some stuff to you. What do you guys see here? Overwhelming, right? I mean, it's overwhelming. And that's not only what I think sometimes vendors feel about these shows, but the brides are feeling the same way. So the reality of bridal shows, I'm sorry, did someone say a question? No, maybe it was just me, echo. They are overwhelming, not only for couples, but also for us as vendors. Most vendors leave saying, we collected a lot of leads. But I'm telling you right now, leads are not, they don't equal bookings. They don't equal dollar signs. The real success comes from starting real conversations, qualifying the right couples and creating the next step and to follow up quickly, 24 hours, 48 hours at the max. This is one of the biggest mistakes vendors make. Okay. They're trying to collect all those leads and you're giving away a free lunch. Everybody wants a free lunch, but I don't want to buy a free lunch. I don't want to give away a free lunch. I want to collect customers that are going to purchase my product. You need to qualify. So examples are fish bowls, prize drawer, random email list. Those are great if you're just trying to email random people, but I want to email the people that, let's just say, don't have a travel booked or they need a wedding officiant or whatever it is. I don't want to be emailing the 100 other people that put their card in my fishbowl that don't need any of that. It's just a waste of your time and it slows you down because it's all about productivity and what you're trying to do because we're all so busy. Do you want to follow up with 100 leads or do you want to follow up with 20 or 30 that are quality? So you need to have a wedding date. If you're going to have some type of a follow up, you need to know their budget, and you need and a need you can solve. If the people that are putting their thing in the fishbowl, they don't need a wedding officiant or they don't need an event planner, why are you following up with them, right? So within the first 10 seconds, this is when you connect with people at these shows. It is sometimes fast paced. I do like some more of the more intimate shows where you have more time to slow down and talk to people. But a lot of times, and if you're not prepared, you're asking questions like, would you like some information? Hey, here's a brochure where you're losing people. You need to have good questions that they're going to respond to. Hey, are you guys planning on 26 or is it a 27 wedding you're working on? Or is it 28? Those are the kind of questions. Have you booked your venue yet? It always typically starts with a venue anyway. This way, where they're at in that process of planning. What type of wedding are you dreaming about? Ask them the questions. You know, find out what they don't already have. People, and once you get them talking, people love to talk about themselves. Get them talking, and this is what I'm horrible at. Shut up and listen. I am horrible at that. I love to talk, and that's probably why I'm a fairly good salesperson. But sometimes I just have to shut my mouth and listen for a minute and get them talking. And if you can connect with them on that level, you're made that connection, which is going to equal a booking later on. Here it is. This is the one thing that I can tell within 30 seconds of walking into one of my bridal shows if they're going to not do well, if they're going to call me after the show and say it wasn't worth it and I didn't do good and I'm not getting any return on my investment. It's sitting down. If you're sitting down at a bridal show, you're losing money. When I set up a show, I personally have 5 to 7 booths for all of my different companies, and we are allowed 2 chairs, and they are hidden away, and it's usually just for my staff to hang their coats on. We are not allowed to sit down for that reason. So this is why sitting kills your ROI. You're sitting behind the table. You're creating a buffer between you and your client. And you're waiting for the brides to come to you. I guarantee you the next time you are at an expo or something like that, you're going to notice the people that are sitting down and you're going to remember this. This is probably one of my biggest pet peeves and one of the biggest things that really helps vendors when you explain it to them and you see it for the first time and it changes how you present yourself at the show. You should be standing. You should be smiling. You should be starting the conversations. If you're sitting, you are losing money. You should have and be prepared for what other services do if you're an event planner, are you an officiant? What other services do you offer and have those ready? So if you hand someone and you're talking to them and you say, hey, do you guys have a wedding planner? And they're like, oh, no, we're good. Well, then, hey, do you have a follow-up question? Do you have a wedding officiant? Oh, yeah, we haven't thought about that. Or, in my case, do you have a DJ? Oh, yeah, we've got a DJ. Well, do you have a photo booth? Oh, yeah, we got a photo booth. Do you have an ordained minister? Do you have a bartender? Follow up. Don't just let them slip by because they answered one question. I don't know how many times we've gotten people who just thought we did one thing and didn't know we did others just by the background or of our booths. So it's always good. Be ready with follow-up questions and start that conversation. And qualify your couples. So if you look over to the right, I just took this off a knot. You guys should be ready for those questions because brides are so educated these days beyond what they used to be over the years. The internet is at their fingertips and they're searching for questions to ask you. And I took this one off the web just yesterday and it's from the Knot and it's my top questions to ask a wedding planner. So they're going to review this before the show. Make sure you have an answer for all these questions because I guarantee you these brides are looking at this stuff and they're going to be asking you those kind of questions. And that's how you can be successful. Um, you're going to want to make sure if you write stuff down, ask her what their wedding date is. Have they booked the venue? What's their budget range? A power question always is, in my opinion, have you already booked your wedding venue? This reveals where they're at in the planning process. And by having, something like this top question sheet prepared ahead of time, you're going to be more confident, and confidence builds trust with these modern brides. What's the goal? The goal in the next step, here it is. So you're going to want to schedule a venue tour. If you're a venue owner, if you're a bridal consultant, schedule a consultation, sending over the pricing, planning that phone call. You don't have to book at the, close them at the booth, right at the show. We do quite a few, but we always book tons after the show. So booth conversations start the relationship. And it's all about those qualifying questions and building the next step. So again, the money is in the follow-up. And I preach this so much and nobody ever listens to me. And so the most bookings happen after the show, and that's so true. You have to follow up within 48 to 24 hours or 24 to 48 hours. And the best method, in my opinion, is text. If you text them once, then email them. If it's a hot lead, you're going to call them. But not everybody is texting them. And if you have their information, you should be. Everybody has their phone in their hand. Not everybody checks emails. They have spam. Sometimes they don't even see it. Text, everybody has their phone in their hand all the time. And it's the easiest and best way, in my opinion, to get a follow-up. Now, I will tell you, like I said, nobody listens to me. I tell all my friends who do the bridal shows who ask for my advice, and sometimes I solicit, my 2 cents when they don't ask for it because I want to help people. But I get a master list of every single show. And I always put a secret email in the show. So usually most venues or most bridal expos, they're going to give you a master list. Even though I want you to collect that small customized list for you, you're going to get a massive list, and you should follow up on that too with some type of a mass email. And because you might, you throw something, see a dart at the wall, see where it sticks. It's always something you should do. And I will tell you that when I put my secret email in there, I'm lucky when we do bridal shows, if 5 to 10 people shoot out those mass emails ever. And some wait 2-3 weeks. I had one 6 months later, and I'm like, really crazy that they wait that long to follow up on those mass, the brides list that are given to them after every show. It really surprises me sometimes that they're not taking advantage of that. So what successful vendors do differently? The focus on quality conversations, kind of like what we talked about. Winning vendors start the conversations first. Hey, how are you? You're standing in front of the booth. You're not sitting behind it waiting for them to come to you, right? You're asking the qualifying questions. You're capturing their contact information. If you look over here to the right, this is what I have at every booth. I have it a clipboard. I have 4 or 5 of these printed up. And we're at the sandals desk, and my rep is there, Danielle. She's my BDM, and she's helping me with the show. And even if I'm running around my head cut off, she's getting these signatures, letting them know we're having a Caribbean night. It's going to be on this night. We'd love to follow up with you. And those people that sign up for that are legit the best candidates, the best leads that I've ever gotten because they're signing up for them. It's not the big email at the end that's sent out. They're asking me to follow up with them because they want to know more about the sandals. So create your next step, and follow up fast. Here's the final takeaway. Now that is my car. That's my BDM. That is a bridal show, one of my bigger ones that I'm actually able to pull my car in there. make your stuff look good. Now this isn't we're not talking about this particular instance, and I hesitated to put this one in there because I'm standing behind the table, but that's just for the photo. We are always out in front of our tables, talking to people, promoting, and all of that kind of stuff. So turn your conversations into contracts. You need to engage every couple, ask the right questions, qualify quickly, and create the next step, and then follow up fast. Treat bridal shows like conversations, not lead collections. If you're collecting everybody's card, you're not going to get the same ROI, and you're going to have way more people to follow up with at the end of the show. And that's it. So that's my spiel. Does anybody have any questions?
Joel, I asked them to put the questions in the chat,
Oh,
but since we
sorry, I
know,
wasn't. Yeah, I couldn't see it because of the screen.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, we don't have any questions in the chat, but since we have time, we can open up. And if you have questions, you can just ask Joel directly.
Hi, Joel. It's Latanya. How are you?
Hey, good.
So I
Welcome.
just did a bridal show in January, and in reading and listening to your tips, I feel like I did everything that you said, and I've followed up within no later than 48 hours. I had a super list that I called a super list, which I followed up same night, but I'm still not getting responses, and I'm trying to figure out what is it that I'm doing wrong. Is it my email communication? Is it the wording? Like, what part is important to grab people to
Yeah.
actually respond?
Did you collect anything like did you have something at your booth that said, "Hey, I want to follow up with you"? Did anybody you connected with, did you get any of those
I
little lists
did.
as well?
I
Okay.
did.
And you emailed all of them as
I
well,
did.
followed up. I highly recommend if you have it, text them, text those people. You
Okay.
need to follow up 3 times before it's a dead lead, in my opinion. We always follow up 3 times with everybody. So I don't hesitate if you follow up once and they don't respond to that text. The worst thing's going to happen is they're going to block you, right? The best thing
Right.
is they're going to be like, "Hey, I forgot about her and we got busy and we really I liked her." Send them your website, send them a link to whatever, make sure that when you send them that text, that there's something in there that they can go to that's directed to you, whether it be your Facebook or your Instagram or a website. Send them something that they can click on. Sometimes people do feel a little bit not intimidated. I can't think of the right word, but you're getting a text message from somebody you don't need, and they want to before they call you and reach out, they want to see a little more about you, and because they saw all these people at the bridal show, which one was that? So I highly recommend texting and text 3 times before it's a dead lead. I also highly recommend make sure you have a link, not just hey, this is me, I do this, a link to your product that you're selling.
Joel, thank you. We have a question about the text program that you use.
Yeah. So I use MailChimp. I know Constant Contact also has one. MailChimp is great. You can email, you can text. It's an SMS system. And on the email side of it, if you email somebody and they don't open it, it sends a second follow-up email within 3 days, which I love. You think you can do more than that, but I usually use the 2 email on them. But text messaging, you just can hit a button and I can do it over and over again unless they unsubscribe. So I use MailChimp for my SMS. It is a cost-based feature. It's not free, but it works really well. Good
Someone
question.
wants to know, they're expanding their business to the Michigan market, and Marcia wants to know when you have your bridal expos.
Yeah, so we have 3 shows. I think we just confirmed the third show. So they're 2 of them are in one in January, 2 in February, and we might have a fourth one. We have a venue up in Lansing, Michigan that contacted us that is not happy with their current program and they're looking to do something. So we might have 4, but it'll all be in that January to February. I like to get the first month, you know, if you everybody kind of knows this, but if you look at the knot.com does that survey every year, and most couples get engaged between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve than the entire year combined. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but so there's a big market. They all just got engaged. So I try to hit that January. And then again, you're getting the few Valentine's brides. So we like to have one a week or two after Valentine's Day, and then we wrap up. Well, occasionally I'll go into that first week in March. But yeah, if you want to check out the website, it is midmichiganbridalexpo.com. And I believe all the dates are on there. Um, yeah.
Another question, when choosing bridal shows, what should we look for to determine if we should invest in that show? That's a good
So
question.
that is a good question, and there is so many variations to it. I would try to reach out to other vendors that you see. Go to their website. They always list the vendors that are on there. I always highly recommend if somebody's on the fence about doing one of my shows, hey, reach out to go on my website, reach out to some vendors who have done it last year. They're going to tell you yay or nay or what they think about it. I personally do not like the mega shows. I don't like 2 day shows. I've done a few of those where you got 1,500 people coming through the door in 2 days, and it's like that first photo I showed you. It's overwhelming. Even for me, I felt like I didn't get any quality time with the couples. I do like a mid-sized show. They're more intimate. Um, they're just a lot easier to handle, and I feel like you get a lot of quality brides. Never, this is my personal opinion. There are a few exceptions. Never do a free show. They don't have any money for marketing. They're not going to bring people in. It's typically not worth it. We spend about $4,000 to $6,000 per show on social media, radio, live remotes, marketing, brand, all of that stuff. So billboards. We put a lot of money into driving people to that show. So if you're going to do a free show and waste your Sunday there for, setup time and all that, you're there 5, 6, 7 hours. You want to make sure it's worth your time. So either talk to other vendors that did one the year before, or reach out and try to find a show that is, like I said, it's a middle of the road type of under 400 people coming through the door type show where I said you can be more one-on-one with the brides.
Do you recommend sharing a digital card with a QR code or physical material?
So I do both. I we introduced the QR codes last year. We have a QR code at every one of our booths, so they can log in and go to it. But people love brochures. Sometimes people, and I know my generation and the older generation who are there, moms and grandmas, aren't super adapt to the QR, and they may take a picture of it. It may not save on their phone, whatever. I like getting something physical in their hands so they can take it home. And of course, they're even if it's a medium-sized show, they're still meeting, dozens and dozens and dozens of different vendors. They're going to go home and they're going to sort through that bag, and you got something to remember you by. But make sure your QR code is on there, though. You want to have something that's easy on the card. But I like to have, we made these styrofoam. I think I don't know, they're probably 8.5 by 11, maybe a little taller. And they sit on these little stands that I bought at Dollar General. You can't, like a frame stand. And we put those in front of all the different companies that I own so people can just shoot a QR code. I think those are super useful. But I definitely would not go away from having physical marketing material.
Now, do you rotate each of the booths during the show for each one of your brands?
I'm not sure I understand that question. I'm
Do you
sorry.
rotate at each of your booths during the show? So you said you had a booth at for each one of your businesses. Do you
Yeah.
rotate around the show for each one of your businesses?
Do I personally?
Yes.
Yeah, so I have a great staff. I'm usually running around with my head cut off. We usually have live remotes, so I'm trying to talk to the radio station on the air. I'm trying to put out fires at the front desk. I am there, but it's probably 15 to 20% of the time. I have a great staff. I usually I usually let, like I said, I have my BDM comes to every show, which is a huge benefit. My wife has also been handling a lot of the sandals stuff, which is nice. So the sandals side's kind of taken care of. I have a great entertainment staff and a manager that runs that. I try to hang out at the barn, the venue side of things, but I'm not there much. No.
Did you have anything else, Cassandra?
No, that was really it because I've been in the mix of doing a sandals at an upcoming show, and then I have a photo booth and do different things with CW.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I'm a one woman show and I kind of contract people out. I'm not blessed yet with a full running staff. So I was just kind of trying to see how
It's
you.
still good. Take a friend with you. Take somebody with you just to hang out and help you. And one that helps you set up because I know setting up and tearing down sucks. But
Yeah.
you don't want it's tough when you're talking one on one and somebody's walking past you and you think, man, I could have talked to them. Pay some, say, hey, I'll take out the lunch, whatever after the show, whatever you can do. I highly recommend taking friends. I know I did that a lot when I first started. And it was definitely beneficial. If even if you can pay someone $100 to spend the day with you on a Sunday, it is so worth it. I don't care if it's my kid comes. He's been coming since he was 14. And he's the one that kind of runs the venue. He's been with the venue for a while. He's 17 now, but he's the one that says, "Hey, you guys want to sign up for a tour?" And he's getting better and better because a lot of times that's the one location that I don't really have anybody standing at. So, and I luckily he works for lunch.
So, Joel, this isn't a question, but Marcia said that this is her personal experience. Before does a show, she advertised on her social media pages to introduce herself and invite potential clients to visit while they are at the show. It seems to work for the smaller shows.
Yeah, we sent out multiple emails about that. We actually we not necessarily require it, but we really stress highly. We want all our vendors to do that. And it does help. It does help, and it helps not just the way we explain it is it doesn't help you necessarily to promote yourself that you're going to be at the show, but what it because they've already booked with you. But if everybody does that, if all the vendors and we send out these emails and say, here's our post, share our post, tell them you're going to be there, then the other vendor is sending people there. Maybe it's a venue and they're saying, hey, we're going to be at the bridal show. Well, now they found Marcia because she's a wedding planner and weren't even, they were just coming because they got invited by the wedding or Marcia invited them out and her clients already booked with her, but she's helping out the DJ because they didn't have a DJ yet or whatever, how it all works. But yeah, we really push that all of our vendors that are there to please promote the event. Not only does it help you, but it helps all the other vendors too, and helps our algorithms, helps push that algorithm on Facebook or TikTok or whatever we're promoting, Instagram, and really does help push the show around.
And Blair says bringing people helps to sing your praises.
Oh, take a couple with you
Like your
to
couples,
right?
a couple that you've helped, or a group of people that you've had go to sandals that really love you, or a couple if you're a coordinator who can talk about they're awesome. So if you have somebody in the booth with you that can talk about you and what you did for them, it also helps.
Yep, I agree. That's a great one. I use that trick for I don't know if you guys all know what Caribbean night is, but it's a promotion for sandals. I use that for my Caribbean night. I always invite some of my favorite couples who are consistently rebooking. And they come out and they're part of the group that we have for Caribbean night. And they're always talking and building up sandals and how they love it and how they've traveled to this one and that one. And it gets everybody else excited. And I think we do more bookings because of it. And those couples, they get extra special stuff too. And of course, they get a free, we have wine and appetizers. So they're having a good night out with their spouse. But I do that trick too. It's great. And that's a good idea for the bridal show.
Well, Joel, I don't see any other questions.
I
Anybody
actually
else?
have a question, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
So you say not to do the smaller shows, but I'm a preferred vendor at a few hotels in my area, and they ask me to do them, and they are free, but they have their brides that they've booked, and I always get bookings from them. All I have to do is bring my decor. And they seem to go way better than the bigger shows because I feel like when I'm doing the bigger shows, there's hype at the show. They're all excited. They're great to talk to. Then they ask me to book a call or book an appointment, and I get them home and I follow up with them that very night with a text or an email, and then they ghost me for the calls and stuff. And I'll keep following up like 6, 7 times, and I never hear from those people. But the people at the small show that was free, that was for a local hotel that I'm already a preferred vendor at, had real brides that are really coming there, and they all closed. So what's the difference, or what could I be doing better at these other shows that I'm actually paying $1,500 a booth for and not getting anything out of it?
Yep. So like I said, there's always an exception, and that right there is one of them. I didn't say don't do the smaller shows. We have a couple. I'd say we are small to medium shows in general. But we charge. And what I mean is you're talking about a venue that has brides coming, and that is perfect. That's a great avenue to go because they're coming there, they're already booked, and they're looking for the other vendors. What I mean are there are some shows that sometimes they do these shows at greenhouses, and they have them at places that are not wedding venues, and they're not charging, and they're trying to promote their stuff. I had a tux shop try to do it at a local hotel that does not have weddings there. It does not have a ballroom. They had several spaces. Those are the shows they're not charging. They don't have any marketing budget. They don't know. They're not driving the traffic because there's no reason to come there. It's not a venue. Okay. Hotel that already has a venue and you're a preferred vendor. Oh my gosh. You can't turn that down. I don't like the bigger shows that are $1,500, and we don't charge anywhere near that. Ours are between 400 and 700, but we're also a 1 day show. We're not nearly as big as that chaos. Again, I don't know all your follow-ups, but maybe some of those tricks, text the people instead of emailing them. Those are big ways to get through to people right away and do it 3 times. But yeah, there's always an exception to the rule. But what I've seen in the past, and part of the show that I took over was the same thing. They were doing it, and they weren't charging, and it had fallen apart. And I see that a lot. I see a lot of shows come up for 1 year and then they're gone the next.
This has been
Because
like a 26-year show. It's well known throughout the area. They have like 5, 6 different shows, and we go to all of them, and they're 1 day
Okay.
shows, just like you're talking about. But
Okay.
it's like, I don't know, like they seem like they're coming there for food or whatever, or they're hype at the show and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I want your backdrop. Oh, I love your butterflies or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, do you mind if we get your contact information and set up an appointment this week? And then you can use your bridal show box. And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah. And they take the time to fill out the form and everything. And then we're over here like wasting hours setting, sending texts, emails, newsletters, like all this stuff. And the traction's lost. The fire's gone. It's like, oh, I went home, talked to my parents. They're cheap, and now I'm not getting a backdrop at all. Or I'm going to do it myself and make it out of tablecloths from the Dollar Tree.
Can I ask another question too? Do you know, are these shows that you're doing, I mean, they're charging you, are they charging the brides at the door?
15
Okay.
bucks.
Okay, because I've seen that before too, where the brides get in free and that's all they want is
No,
food. And that's the other
nope.
part too, where the shows are free. A lot of times, you're getting people who are bringing their whole family in. They're just getting cake and cookies and food, and they're
I've seen
not
that, yeah.
quality. So that's why we charge. We charge at the door. We charge the vendors.
That's at the David Lawrence Convention Center. That's what they do there. It's like
Yeah.
cheap, $5 to get in. They eat all day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
and I do event rentals. I'm a design decorator, event planner, wedding planner, whatever, like all of that aspect. Plus I have photo booths, married to a DJ. So like we're allowed to talk about all that at our booth, which we do. And we always have 6 people working the booth. So
Yeah.
we're capturing like as many people that are interested. We're not going out into the middle of the floor and like accosting people and being like, come to our booth. Like if they look at us and make eye contact and they want to engage us, we're engaging them. It's just like, I don't understand where the process is broke or what I could be doing better. That's like, what happens at these other shows? The same fire is happening. the same stuff. And a lot of times the private shows, they'll book right there. Great, I'm captive audience. That's awesome. But at these other ones, they're all excited. They're like, oh, you're on fire. Like, I love your designs. And then they'll go right onto Instagram while we're standing there, see a lot of my work. And they're like, oh my God, that's incredible. Yeah, I have to have that. And then I'll send the price. And I even tell them the price right there. Like that batrock that you're looking at with the butterflies and the wildflower wall is going to be $1,200. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, if it's more than you're thinking, we can do payments. And they're like, okay. But then again, get back and I say, hey, you were so excited about the flower wall with butterflies. It's $1,200, $200 retainer. How would you like to pay that? Or, here's the quote. Click yes, move on. I mean, I don't know how much easier I could make it for them.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a good, like you're asking the right questions, you're doing the right follow up. I really, I mean, specifically for just, I'm not really sure. Maybe it's the market. I don't know. Maybe it's a little oversaturated at the shows, or some shows don't. I don't know how
There's
many
no
of
other
your.
decorators that do what I
Okay,
do. I'm
gosh,
very niche and it's Pittsburgh.
yeah. Oh, I
So
was gonna ask where you're at. So you're in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah,
In
I'm not
fact,
sure.
I'm so well known throughout the area. I was accepted into the NFL draft, and so I'm designing and doing work for them. So people
You
know
don't even
me.
need these brides. You
I
don't
know,
even
but
need them.
like,
You're going to the NFL.
right. But then next year I will, because the draft is only this year. I don't
Right.
want to like put all my eggs in the draft basket. I don't. It worries me. It's too temporary, and I want people that have babies and then have a shower and they're like, oh, we used your
Right.
backdrop for your
Right.
wedding and now we use it for, I want relationships for life, you know?
Yeah. Well, what I can tell you is keep pounding the pavement. Don't give up. Bridal shows, I feel, this is my personal opinion. This is why I speak so strongly on it. It's why I own several. I don't feel there is any better way to meet a potential customer than at a bridal show. You're not going to ever go anywhere. I don't care if you're on the internet. You could send out all of the boosts and all. You don't know who you're touching, but you are
Right.
touching a bride and a groom at that show, and you're one-on-one. So I just say, take a look at some of the stuff that I talked about today. Double check, see where you compare and fall in that, and don't give up. Bridal shows are it. I think they're going to continue to be the best way to reach out to couples. And that's how I feel about it. So good luck.
Tanya,
Thank you.
Tanya, they're telling you to stay strong, girl. Stay
Stay
strong.
strong.
I've been
Keep
doing
up
Um,
the
this
good fight.
26 years. I will definitely stay
Stay
strong.
strong and positive. Joel, we have one more question and then we can end our questions. As planners and designers, what is your recommended booth setup?
Okay, so good question, and I can do a whole other topic on this whole thing too. But I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version. Again, no chairs, no sitting down. Push your booth all the way against the wall or wherever you're at booth. Make your display, set it up. If you want to do, find out are they 8 foot tables or 6 foot tables. Figure out your display, set it up before you get to the show so you know what it looks like. Ask what your booth space is. If you maybe you're going to bring an extra four, usually they provide one table and a linen. But find out what they're doing, and then maybe you want to bring another table. Maybe you want to make an L so you can actually have a nice display all the way around. Maybe you want to do a horseshoe. Maybe there's room for 2 4 foot tables and you're 8 foot against the back. Make sure it's all set up there. The other big thing is, and I've covered this before, and some of my topics is that I do lay out my brochures for sandals, but I also make sure that I talk to every single person. For my other companies, we do not let any of our brochures sit out. The reason is if they're really interested in talking to me or one of my staff members, I don't want them, if we're that busy, I want them to wait in line and talk to me. I don't want them reaching around, grabbing a brochure and just walking on. I don't know how many times we've connected with somebody and another one stepped up and they're just waiting. And as soon as they're done talking with that person, okay, can I get a brochure? And then we talk to them and we book them right there on the spot. And I know we would have lost them if they would have walked by and went to another DJ company or whatever. So we don't leave any brochures out per se for people to have and just steal. But my guys all have them right there. We go through price lists sometimes, especially if it's a DJ or photo booth, because we have specials. You may not have a price list right then. You may just want to do a consultation because I think florist and that decor is a lot different. But my thing is, I don't leave brochures out. Like I said, we do for the sandals, but we make sure we do try to get a hold of everybody. And I have a sticker on those brochures with my information on everyone, just in case one does get by. That's the only exception with my is the sandals for brochures. So set it up at home. That's my
Anyone else? Joel, are you willing to share your slides?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, if you send them to me, I'll get them
I
to
will sure
attend.
will.
I think that's it. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Um, you're getting, this was incredible. Thank you.
Thank you
You're getting
guys.
a
No, I
lot of thank
appreciate being
you,
here.
good
Thank
information.
I appreciate you
Okay.
guys all for being here.
Thank you everyone for attending. I'll see you on March 18th for our next Wedding Wednesday webinar. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you,
Bye, guys.
Joel.
Thank you.